Welcome back to Rounding the Bases, bonus coverage on YouTube as we will wrap things up with Brandon Calloway, one of the founders of Gift. And if you want to learn more about everything they are doing, certainly you could go to their website, kansascitygift.org, or check out the audio episode on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever it is that you get your podcast. But I've got four final questions, Brandon, as we round the bases. The first is this. Before we get to some of your other endeavors, you started this whole thing while still having another job, and which tells me, at least at the time, you didn't know this was going to become this big, or it became big enough where you said, "Wait a minute, I can't be everywhere all at once."
Right.
So you got that fundraising background, United Way, and all of that. Did you expect to be able to pivot away from there so quickly, or how did that all go about?
No. So I mean, when you launch it, man, anything you launch, you gotta have this grandiose plan, and so we put it in the plan that that within the first 2 years we would be able to bring on somebody full time and have them run it and all of that. So yeah, that was the plan. Had no idea how how realistic that was. Actually, my board, when I told my board that, they was like, yeah, that's probably a few years down the line, like telling me to slow down kind of thing. But now we're 2 years in and we have 6 staff. So we're like, no matter what I thought, I didn't think we would be here this fast.
Yeah. Great signs, indeed. All right, second question as we round the bases, as if you're not doing enough. You are an artist, graphic novels, comics, founder and CEO of Dark Moon Comics. Where did that background come, and how much of a passion? That's one of those things that you don't. I think I don't have those abilities. I don't think you just jump into that for the heck of it. You've got to truly love that in terms of what's inside you, I think.
Yeah, and so that kind of came from my from connecting my nerd life with my entrepreneurial spirit, right? And so I'm the writer and creator of all of my stuff, and then I hire an artist to actually illustrate it. And so one day, like me and one of my friends, I'm a huge anime fan, and me and one of my friends were talking about, like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we created our own anime? And I love the guy. He's more of a talker than a doer, and I'm more of a doer. So I was like, cool, like this can't be that hard. And so it all starts with comic books. And so I kind of got obsessed with it and figured out, all right, how do I go about writing and creating my own comic book? And so honestly, I spent like 2 years just learning about world building and writing and all of that. So I didn't write, so that my writing wasn't like he went to the park,
Right.
And it goes back to connections. I found that there are a lot of like Black comic creators around the country, and so I just started connecting with them on Facebook and all of that, and getting advice, and then I dove in and wrote my first script and paid for the art and published it, and people liked it. Yeah. So and then so that was the first book, and then because I met so many people, I was able to I had some other writers come together with this collective and like kind of create the whole Dark Moon Comics universe.
It's amazing. It's so cool. And I don't know, maybe you're just a Renaissance man type. I don't know, but you're involved in, I mean, I think a lot of us are involved in a lot of things, right? I mean, most of us are extremely busy, and I always like people say, gosh, Joel, you're like the busiest dude. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm busy like everybody else,
Yeah.
And so it just, we find these lanes, and we find the ones that we enjoy and that work for us. But when I look at your resume, and this will lead to the third question, and correct me if I'm seeing any of this wrong, but Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology and Exercise Science. And so when you look at some of the early stuff in your career, a lot of fitness and training and nutrition specialist, U.S. Army, health coach, fitness manager. then you kind of shift over to volunteer engagement, United Way, and we talked about that, and now everything going on with Gift. And so you've really been all over the place in terms of the things that you can do. What did you want to do growing up?
What did I want to do growing up? That's funny. I literally had this conversation with my wife yesterday. So when I was in high school, I played football. So I played football. I was in ROTC in high school, and I was an actor. So I went to Paseo High School of Performing Arts here, and I was in like I was in all of the plays. I actually have a when I went to Avila, I minored in theater. I had a theater scholarship, minored in law, majored in kinesiology. And so I, at first I wanted to be an actor, and then long story short, I had to make a pivot on that. And when I as a football player, I saw like the question I asked myself is why is it that Rockhurst and why Rockhurst was a school that won national all the time, and what is it that they had specifically in their strength and conditioning that we didn't have in the inner city? And so when I became a personal trainer, I told one of my best friends that I was going to learn every single thing that the NFL strength and conditioning coaches learned.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was going to work to get, to get inner city high school kids to college and get them to the NFL. Uh, and I actually like you said, I have a bachelor's of science in kinesiology. I have five personal training certifications. So I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist, corrective exercise, USA Olympic weightlifting coach. Uh, and so I learned those things, and but along the way life happens, right? And you got to make money, and so I started personal training. And as a personal trainer, personal training is sales. It is all sales. And so I eventually got away from my original goal of training kids to to hit that next level. And I just like I began training, then training trainers, and then I reached a point where I was actually running the gym, and I was running the business, and doing business to business partnerships and all of that. And so my last fitness job, so I had a 10-year career in fitness. My last fitness job, I was writing all the workouts, but I wasn't really training anybody. And I certainly was like the people that I was training was just really wealthy people that were training just for the fun of it, like not even weight loss clients, just for the fun of it. And I got too far from my purpose, and I decided that I'm gonna use like all of this 10 years worth of sales experience and business to business partnerships and relationship management. I think I can move that over to nonprofit and uh and be a benefit there. I can probably raise money and have a greater impact on a larger number of people implement those skills than staying in fitness and using these skills for just to make myself money. And so I had a conversation with my wife, and actually I started over. I literally was running gyms, and then I took a part-time temporary job at United Way, a huge pay cut to start over in an industry that I didn't have experience in, and then worked my way up much quicker. It didn't take me 10 years at United Way. Worked my way up much quicker, and learned my nonprofit, and now here I am at Gift. So yeah.
Well, that leads me to my final question, the walk off. You mentioned the word and you touched on it briefly. I'm glad you did because it's where I wanted to go. I mean, to me, I think finding your purpose is one of the most difficult yet rewarding things for any person to do, because when you find it or you figure out what it is so empowering just to yourself. I mean, it is to me. And so you're living in this world where you see what you do impacting others. And Of course, that was true as a trainer. That can be true
Yeah.
in anything. But when you can find it, that's the secret sauce to me. What is your purpose?
Yeah. My, I mean, my purpose is specifically leaving the inner city of Kansas City better than I found it. And while it might feel or sound a little, because it it's not really for me. It's not really about leaving the world better than I found it. Well, that's a secondary purpose for me. But in growing up on the east side, the inner city of Kansas City, and you know, I mean, I grew up in at times my house didn't have lights, gas, or water all at the same time. I didn't have anybody that I could go to say, "Oh, I need help with this," or "We need help with that," or "We need help with this." Um, and I just I know the benefit it would have been to us if there was if we knew that there were people working hard working hard for us. And so if I feel like if I can, if I have the skill set, I have the talent, I have the connections and the knowledge to do it, I have to. And
Mm.
so I don't see any reason why the east side of Kansas City can't flourish and be an economic hub like everything else is, like the other areas of Kansas City is. And so like that's my real purpose is focusing on the the people that might feel like they are alone in the inner city, because I
Yeah.
was one of those that felt like I was alone in the inner city. And so if I can change that for somebody else, then I'm good and I'm doing my thing.
That's as good as it gets. I will tell you that right now. Keep doing what you are doing. You don't need to hear that from me. You already know it, but you've got a fan in me. And again, I'll encourage everybody to check out what's going on. KansasCityGift.org. Certainly go back and listen, I hope, to our audio version of the podcast, wherever you find your podcasts. And Brandon, again, I appreciate you spending the time. It's good to have you back on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Joel. It's always great, man. I appreciate you.